Welcome to the Back Yourself Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, here for the Week 8 NFL recap. And it was an action-packed morning this week. A winning day on Premium. We did get stitched up on a Hail Mary play, but, you know, that's punting. You win some, you lose some. Sometimes they go their way, sometimes they do not go your way, and conveniently did go the Commanders' way, just like pretty much everything else this entire season. And I did do some advanced thinking heading into this week, and it actually was the demise of a few of these best bets, but thankfully we didn't pull the trigger on too many of these rats, aka Panthers. The fact that I've lost money on you for the 15th week, and I really despise you guys. But there was a few teams that pulled through for us. Cleveland Browns went outright with Jameis of War, which we called, and we didn't quite pull the trigger on Lions, who win by fucking 70 again. But I feel like, and a bit of a sneak peek teaser into next week, that might not be continuing. Haha. How are you, my friend Chris?
It was torturous. I think, actually...
Torturous, you reckon?
For four of my best bets, I lost by a combined 5 points. And that's including the Hail Mary, which ended up being 3 of those points. So you can imagine the other games.
And
but
the disgusting thing I would say, Chris, for you was, this wasn't even a situation where you could be like, oh, if I got the best of the number throughout the week, I would have pushed or covered. Those games that, all right, it opens at 2.5, closes at 3.5, and it lands on 3. No, yours, like Green Bay, 3.5 the whole week, lands on 3. What else did you lose? Texans goes all the way to 4.5. They're about to kick a field goal. There's no way Anthony Richardson's going to get a touchdown to go ahead, but they fumble for no reason, and then these rats backdoor cover again. So, look, bit of misfortune in some of these games. Obviously, the Commanders one was probably the biggest stitch up you get of the whole season, but we still pull through with a winning round, so we can't complain too much. And maybe we'll just have a quick fire rapid preview of Thursday Night Football, because you are the Rams Whisperer and they pulled through for you again, and then we'll go straight into Redzone after that one. So,
well, actually,
the boys return, Chris.
I was the Rams Whisperer, but I only thought one of the boys would return, not both of them. But anyway, Puka apparently was playing. I don't know when this was released. It wasn't obviously when we were doing the podcast, but he played, and Staffy looked really good with them, which would make sense. And the Vikings have regressed a little bit, and the Detroit game took a lot out of them, clearly, and just a bad spot to play the Rams, who are still having some hope that they can make the playoffs. Their results went their way this week as well, so they're really within a shout for a wild card. If not, might win the division at this point, because they're only 1 win behind the rest of the gang. So, and they have the tiebreaker over San Fran, for example, and may have the tiebreaker next week over Seattle as well. So, good win for them. Vikings, take that one away. Hopefully this 2 weeks has just, been a reality check. You guys are still a very good team and deserve to make the playoffs in my eyes, but you just went into a high-powered offense, and that is a high-powered offense.
Yes, agreed. I just ran into the wrong team at the wrong time. I think I came on saying, look, Vikings 2.5 good odds. Once Puka got named that he was going to play and not be unlimited snap count or anything, I was like, all right, Rams money line's probably the spot in this one. On a short week, you're not really equipped to deal with that high-powered offense, and essentially, I want to say close to 0 quarterback pressure, 0 sacks from the Vikings' vaunted defense was probably what undid them in the end.
You're scared of Puka.
We start off touchdown. It's 14-0, and then Vikings don't get another touchdown from that point, and Staffy just was more efficient at putting the ball in the end zone than Darnold was. So fair play to the Rams, and all of a sudden, after stringing back-to-back wins together, being 1-5, now they're a bit closer, a few more wins, and a big chance to take a stronghold of this division after they beat Seattle next week, if they are indeed to go there and win with extended rest. On the other side, Vikings, look, you're not going to go 17-0. You're 5-2 now, still going well. Obviously, you've given up that lead in the division to the Lions in the last 2 weeks, but that's all right. It's going to be a long season, and I think the extended rest will do you guys well, and we'll see how you guys bounce back next week. Now, back to winning ways and lock of the week. Thank you, Atlanta Falcons, -2.5. Put it here, champion.
Hold on, mate.
I think the spread was wrong. The game played out that way. Tampa fought as hard as they could for as long as they could, but they were just outclassed as far as personnel goes. I think if Godwin and Evans play this game, they would beat the dog piss out of Falcons, but lacking both of those players, Baker, you saw him sort of force the ball to wide receiver number 3 and 4 a little bit more than he would probably like to. Led to a few mistakes where I think Jesse Bates didn't even play, and some of the Falcons secondary pieces were actually just picking Baker off. I think he threw 2 picks. And the Falcons, obviously, with the full strength offense, had a bit more reliability and chemistry to be able to actually drive the field consistently. And I did make a point that, look, this Bucks D, they have good players, but they are quite banged up, and sneakily they've been conceding 30 points a game, and it's pretty much more of the same. I didn't really have that eager eye on this game because there was just more of like cook shit happening during Redzone, but I was quietly confident throughout the whole game that, look, Falcons are probably going to win this game, and that's how it kind of ended up in the end. Now, pretty much they have a stronghold in the NFC South. Will they fuck it up will be the question going forward, but again, as I mentioned, now Tampa have no players. They go to Kansas City. Saints are pitiful, and Panthers are +7 to Saints, which just puts things in perspective of that division. There's outside of it just a absolute capitulation from Falcons. It should be game, set, and match in the NFC
Agreed.
South.
It's over. Maybe Tampa can fight for a wild card spot. Everyone's within a fight. Yeah. I really got no much analysis on the game. To be honest, I'm just angry at the Sharps. I don't know what you can't. What was your vendetta keeping this at 2 the whole week? You knew who was playing, who wasn't, and you still kept it at 2. You kept it at 2. You kept it at 2. Falcons beat this team 3 weeks ago with better players.
Yeah, literally.
So there was no reason to keep this at 2. Anyway, it was a bonus win for everyone on Premium because we could have sent 2.5 from the opening till kickoff, and it was pretty relaxed victory.
Yes. Yeah, when you didn't get many of those, and I think the public, Chris, in the last 2 weeks of like public sides that, you know, big lines, big favorites, road favorites, divisional favorites, they might have been like 18-5 or something against the spread, huge. And this was probably one of the few public plays that won in the early red zone slate because I think the public was all over Cincinnati in this one, including myself. I was like, look, early in the week, if this stays at 2.5, I'll lay it. And I expected T. Higgins to actually run out there because these pricks haven't won a game in Cincinnati the whole season. And I was like, look, he's going to probably push through. And I think their offense is completely different when both of those boys are playing as opposed to just Jamar on his own. And it was a back and forth affair early on once it got to 17-all. And Eagles did their 15th tush push to get Jalen Hurts just barely into the end zone. It's pretty much all she wrote. I think Bengals just capitulated like a bad team would, and I think at this point you kind of have to admit that they're probably just a bad team.
Shit.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I'm so sick of everyone hearing this team. Again, line was completely wrong in my opinion. You cannot put Philly... Like, what I don't understand... Again, Sharps again. It's the same fucking pricks. And I'll call them out because it's the same garbage, right? You guys sat there and went, all right, Giants should only be 3-point underdogs to this Philly team. Philly smoked them. And then everyone's like, all right, Philly's pretty good. And then you put them +3 on the road again.
And hilariously, Giants were also +3 to Bengals.
What the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
So if they're both +3, how can they be 3-point favorites at home?
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Without Higgins, yeah.
No way. And even pre-game, like even after T. Higgins was ruled out, it was still 2.
Yeah.
What the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I have had a vendetta against Bengals ever since literally the Patriots lost. Because it's, in my opinion, they do the same shit every year. Everyone thinks they're fucking, this is their year, they fuck it up, they get an injury, and then they're like, oh, no, next year's it. But this year, they haven't even got the injuries, they've just fucked it up.
Yeah, essentially.
And them and one other team, who are literally my heart favorites, I'm off them since fucking 3 weeks ago. Fuck the Jets, we'll get to them. But Bengals really pissed me off because the last couple weeks, ever since that Ravens loss, which they played pretty good, they didn't get the field goal. Lamar went and won them the game in overtime. Fine. But ever since then, there's been a facade that this team's just unlucky. They've played good teams. You know, they beat fucking Giants by 10. But it's Giants. They haven't beaten anyone competent. And as soon as they come up against competition, they actually don't even... They get smoked. And
it's not close.
Like, I know that they've lost a few close games, but this was completely wrong. And I don't know why, like, the Eagles were underdogs. I wish I actually took them pre-game. It's just, I kind of thought, you know what, Bengals, you know, maybe. But then I should have just stuck with my heart and been like, these cunts suck. Fuck off.
Yeah. I think you were probably more on the Eagles side than me, Chris. Maybe at 3.5 we would have contemplated taking that. I think this was more a numbers play for me, but in hindsight... Probably once T. Higgins got rolled out, this should have been a pick'em, especially with the recent results in the last couple of weeks, with this three-way triangle of these two rats and Giants, and how those results played out. But I guess credit to Philly. It's not easy to go to Cincinnati, win by 20 plus, but once they took the lead in that second half, I think the second half might have been like 23-0 or something crazy like that. So it was just a complete blowout, and Bengals had no answers once Philly put the foot on the accelerator, which was a good win for them. And next game, we don't have to spend long on this. Carolina. Tennessee, you guys are the dirt of the sport at this point, and Lions,
get off Redzone.
You are the team that will like put a bad team to the sword in like a just disgusting way, where every time Redzone comes up, whether Lions have the ball, Tennessee have the ball, or the special teams are on the field, I'm like, okay, what's going to happen in this play for Lions to score another touchdown?
Yeah, that's all it was. I mean, Tennessee, what quitters?
Yeah.
Toe-to-toe, pew.
Yeah, pew, yeah. Wow, it was really bad.
It was 14-all.
Yeah. It's actually the same garbage as the Buffalo
game. It was 14-all. Incredible. Lions, this is my take of the century. You are literally Arizona from 3 years ago, 2.0, in my opinion.
What the hell?
They're going to go fuck it up again.
Why?
I actually think they're going to go fuck it up. They look so good right now.
Yeah, I know.
And most likely, quick sneak peek to next week. They should technically win next week.
Technically, they should, yeah.
But
or will they?
They're going to go fuck it up. They could be... I reckon I could see them... They might not cover next week, but I could see them like be 9-1, and literally it'll be the same as every other team that starts 9-1.
But if I'm playing devil's advocate, that Cardinals team like completely came out of nowhere, and once they got to 3-0, every single week we're like, why are these guys 4-0? Why are these guys 5-0?
No, but everyone understands that they're good, right? They're kind of like
Lions are coming off an NFC Championship game, and probably preseason were what? Third favorite, fourth favorite to win the whole Super Bowl. So can you really say that you have no faith in them when everyone thought they're going to be good? Now they look even better than everyone thought they were going to be, and they score 50 points.
I got you. It's even better. It's not them. It's Eagles. This is Eagles 2.0.
Oh wow! When these Eagles were just.
Well, they're 9-0.
They just went.
They were 9-0.
Yeah, I know they were.
And I don't think it will be a pew scenario that they're just going to fucking quit on the year, but. Literally, Lions have the conference locked up in this unless Green Bay beat them by some miracle.
You don't see a scenario where they drop the NFC North, the Vikings or Green Bay?
No way. Okay. Whoever wins at that moment, whoever wins that division is going to win the conference. They have the week off.
Yep.
So let's say Lions do it. They're going to have the week off, and it just gives me flashbacks of so many teams that start the year so well. They might end the year, few wins, few losses, but they still end up winning the conference. And then the first week they end up playing, fuck it up.
Off the bye.
And I know that they're playing so great at the moment. And their offense is out of this world. But I just know this team that when it actually matters, I think they'll fuck it up. And this is a hot take obviously they're going to be in the playoffs and might win the conference. But in my opinion, right now, they're in a trajectory to fuck it up a bit later in the year. And look, they can keep playing great. They could prove me wrong completely, but I don't think Lions will get out of this conference, in my opinion. And even if they win it, I don't think they'll win the whole thing.
Fair enough, mate. I think quite ballsy of you to come out and say that. I think I had this team going to the Super Bowl, losing it. I feel pretty good about it, especially now that 49ers, Dallas, whoever's in the NFC South, Philly, none of these teams stand out. So they're sort of competing within their own division to win the conference at this stage. And if you're saying they're going to get the 1 seed, which I probably agree with, you're going to have Minnesota with Sam Darnold playing a playoff game and then maybe going to Detroit or Green Bay doing something similar because they're both wild cards. It's a big ask for them to go and win.
I'd love for Vikings to go there.
Yeah, I know, right? It would be a great game, but we'll have to see how that plays out. But for the immediate future, it's incredible that they can just hand the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs and he can just put it in the end zone from their own 30-yard line. It's fucking
actually
ridiculous. And all right, if it happens 1 week, I'm like, oh, okay, a few things bounce their way. But if this has happened 3-4 weeks in a row where they're just blinking and you see 40 on the scoreboard, I'm just like, wow, okay, maybe they're just that good. So we'll have to keep an eye on them going forward. But I don't know, again, in what capacity. And I will defend ourselves somewhat for taking the Panthers spread later, which was bigger than this Tennessee one, mind you. I don't understand why this was bet down from 12 to 11 or 10 or like 13 to 11 from the sharps. Like, you saw Tennessee go up 10-0 at Buffalo last week and then
quit.
And now you're getting the same shit line. Remember my analysis in the preview? You're getting the same shit line after watching these guys quit to a better offense. And you guys took it again.
I think this podcast is just a vendetta against the Sharps. Fuck me. I reckon they got fingered today.
They did, but
they
made it back on a couple of these games. And, you know, rapid fire, like, the underdogs came out possessed.
Here we go.
Out of nowhere. And I really don't know where to start next, but I'll just quickly go to Cardinals. You know, we can just talk about
because
Cardinals
it's your
quick.
team.
Because
you might die for them.
I might give my kidney up for Cardinals.
Well, one kidney for them and one kidney for someone else in the latest.
Of course, yeah. Which I think the loyal pod listeners will know who I'm referring to. But look, at this point, Miami, they opened this at 2.5. The news came out that Tua of War was coming back to play instead of Snoop Huntley, and so it was only 2.5 in the first place because people suspected that Tua was going to play. Otherwise, there would be underdogs at home with Snoop. We know this because they gave Tennessee a win.
They might have won then.
They gave Tennessee a win with Snoop, so you can't put favorites against anybody with Snoop. Now, in saying that, there were 2.5. This guy gets named. He goes to 3, goes to 3.5, goes to 4, goes to 4.5. And, you know, last scene, Chris, these motherfuckers look terrible with Tua. I think people forgot, like, maybe the narrative of, Tua's, like, went down in such a heartbreaking fashion, which, knock wood, I hope he, like, has a healthy career going forward, but these cunts, like, almost quit the Jags in week 1 and, like, were lucky to escape with... They took victory out of the jaws of the Jags' defeat to beat fucking Trevor Lawrence. And then before Tua, these guys were down 50-0 to Buffalo anyway. So now you're going to come back after a 6-week layoff when Snoop's been running your offense for 5 weeks and you're going to expect him to cover 4.5 against anyone? I'm good. So I really, like, wanted to pull the trigger on Cardinals' money line, but I was like, look, Dolphins should at least win, right? You're not playing fucking Buffalo or something that you would give up to Cardinals, but I can't, like... Maybe they were just imposters last year and people, like, have syndrome from last year of these guys. Like, Miami from last year would score 42 and blow Arizona out of the building this year, but you just have to accept what they are, which is a fucking terrible team at this point.
Well, I'm going to give myself praise. I said from week 1, these cunts suck.
Yeah.
So
the preseason preview, actually.
Yeah,
I'll give you more credit.
And they suck, all right. That division, well, I'm not going to say the division itself, have literally quit on the season. The whole division. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's sad, actually.
It's actually sad because Buffalo really should not be 6-2. And they shouldn't lead the division this easily that they just can fucking sit back and relax, right? But these retards around them, I mean, one's worse than the other. And
one's the worst, though.
One's the worst. But, yeah, well, they're last now. Which is really funny. But like Arizona, you can't steal our ass, but like to be honest, but you know what? I'm gonna say this back, Kyler. Like, I don't know if Tua could do a drive like that at the end. He wouldn't have done it. And at least like Kyler has that in him. Obviously, pegging the ball, McBride can't be like your game plan to fucking make the playoffs, but.
Or going meep. Like, that's your two scenarios, right? Throw it as hard as you can at McBride or go meep and rush for 50 yards, which, look, their wins have come against the dirt of the sport. Besides Niners fucking it up to them.
And Rams.
Chargers could not score. Dolphins just give up as soon as the going gets tough, and they beat Rams with no players, right? And I think, like, the Cardinals' offense is built to, like, take advantage of those sort of losers, but as soon as you play, like, a very competent defensive-minded head coach or a good defensive coordinator... I don't trust Kyler that much, but I am somewhat scared of him in those moments where, like, I'm like, Kyler can probably go down and get a field goal pretty easily, right? But conversely, if that was Tua, I'd be like, you know what, Tua, like, he might fumble, he might throw it to the other team.
Exactly.
He might do something stupid. So you got to give, like, them somewhat praise for actually going and getting another win. But now for them, the huge challenge is three-peating, which is it's not really built in them, but I think...
Snoop out there.
Miami at this point of the season should quit on the year. Like,
they will.
They shouldn't even run out there. And
I would put Snoop in for the rest of the year.
You'd run out Snoop.
Season's done.
Yeah, but I think you owe it to, like...
For what?
There's 52 players in the locker room, right? If you run out Snoop again, willingly, then, like... Alright, hypothetically, you're a fucking offensive lineman, you're a defensive tackle, you're a corner on Miami.
I've got a rebuttal for this.
And you get a report come out the midweek, right? Or like, you know how there's leaks in the media, right? Before you go and do video of watching Kyler kill you, there's a report come out that says Miami, essentially the headline is Miami have quit on the year. Snoop is playing.
Yeah.
How can you like rock up to training and keep trying?
I've got a rebuttal for this. Right? Clearly this year is not your year, right? For the unit itself, if Tua gets a head injury in the next 10 weeks...
Yeah. Your franchise is fucking abolished.
It's over. So you got to think logically here. You're already 2-5, whatever garbage you guys are, right? You need some draft picks, especially on defense, because your team sucks. You still have the best fucking receiver, what I heard, the best NFL player in the world. I promise you, if you guys get fingered, especially this week, because you play Buffalo as well. If you lose to Buffalo...
Get fingered.
Whatever it is. Even if you lose, it doesn't matter. And end up 2-6, legit take him out. I would not play him another snap for the rest of the year.
Tua.
If he gets another injury, their franchise is over.
Yeah.
There is no reason to risk that at 2-5.
Yeah, it's just a waste. Like, it's the equivalent of like Chris Godwin tearing his ACL in garbage time of the fucking
legit
Baltimore game. Like, why is he out there? But this isn't like a season long thing of like, why is this guy out there? And it would probably do him a world of good to just sit out for like 9 months until opening night next year, and then get his head right and not risk his fucking, not just his physical health, but his life in a way for fucking these losers to just go out there and lose every week. So, yeah, Cardinals, good win from you boys. Miami, I'd say wake up, but you're so far asleep that like there's nothing that's going to wake you
Well,
guys
there's
up.
a team that should wake up. Or they asleep as well.
Staying in the division, we talked about the AFC East, which is back to turn into the AFC East now. And it's spearheaded by these fucking peasants. In New York, the New York Jets go out and lost to the Patriots, guys. The Patriots.
Good job, Patriots.
Why are you cheering for them?
Shout out to Wilds. He tipped him to win. You know what? Fuck Jets, bro. I said when they lost to Buffalo, fuck these cunts. They're fucking shit. And legit, it's all their defense's fault. I gave you a pass week 1 because you played Niners. And you bounced back, and legit, think about it this way. If you had beaten Denver in that 1 point affair, you would have been 3-1. 3-1. And the hope would have been alive because you would have played Buffalo the week after and fucking had a chance at legit winning the division. On the other front, you are now 2-6. And you've just lost the Patriots. So, listen. Fuck this team. Fuck these cunts. I hope the fucking franchise capitulates because they fucked everyone over. The fans... including myself, because I was an adopted fan of the New York Jets when they got Rodgers. And everything that's happened since Rodgers has been there. There is no reason last year that you guys defending 10 times better with fucking Zach Wilson. After all the media I heard, oh bro, Zach Wilson, he can't do anything with the ball. We just get the ball back on defense. How about get the ball back now, you shit cunts?
Yeah.
Fuck me. Fuck Jets.
That's all you have to say?
That's all I have to say. Good job, Patriots.
Yeah, good job, Patriots. Like, this is a terribly talent-devoid team. No offensive weapons, no O-line. Drake May even goes down in this one. And
they won anyway.
Look, Rodgers will get all the slack in the media, and he somewhat deserves it because he's just been a complete disaster in New York so far. But he did go and put the ball in the end zone, right? And he put Jets in a position where a field goal doesn't send this to overtime. A field goal doesn't win this game for Patriots. They actually have to physically go put the ball in the end zone with Jacoby Brissett. With like, how long was it? Minute 50?
Yeah.
And you motherfuckers let him in. Incredible.
Look, Rodgers has been no worse than Anthony Richardson, which we'll get to him.
Wow.
And they're 4-4.
Yeah, I know. Mate, you tell me Rodgers has been worse than Brissett?
No.
And these cunts have the same record, right? So you went from, okay, we can beat Denver at MetLife to go to 3-1, to potentially go and beat Buffalo to be 4-1, to we've just lost 5 games in a row and we lost the Patriots.
Yeah. And got Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
What was the point?
But all good. We're going to get Devontae. We're going to fire Robert Saleh and just progressively get worse every week. It's like week to week they outdo themselves.
Yeah.
So they have fucking like, all right, we fucked it up to Bo Nix. All good. We'll get a Hail Mary, fuck it up to Buffalo. And then we'll go and quit to Pittsburgh, even up 15-6. And then to top it all off, we're going to give up to Patriots. So this has been in recent memory, up there with maybe the Brooklyn Nets, maybe the LA Clippers, but at least they had like a couple of fucking postseason appearances, right? Maybe Phoenix of making it and getting swept, but for them to be 2-6 is like one of the all-time disasters of a franchise that I can remember.
Agreed.
I mean, these cunts are pitiful, man.
Absolutely awful.
Just god-awful.
Fuck these guys.
Yeah, fuck them. Like, the fact that this pod's gotten to a point where you're off them even more than me, that's saying something.
Fuck
man.
Jets.
What the hell are you guys doing?
I think you can get my gist for the rest of the year when Jets are playing.
Yeah, fuck them.
Fuck
yeah,
Jets.
fuck them. Yeah, I agree. But the underdogs kept covering, and this is one we were on. Lucky we didn't take Jets in a teaser. Like, how many teasers have Jets fucked up?
No.
Like, they don't even win at 7, 8, 9, whatever the fuck they are. Anyway. On to Cleveland Browns, a motherfucking war, baby. The Ravens Whisperer hits again, 8-0 on Ravens games. And this one was a doozy. Jameis Winston gets the Cleveland Browns. I had to blink twice. I'm like, does that say 20 on the scoreboard for Browns?
They haven't
First
hit 20.
time in 8 games they hit 20 points. Wow. I guess their hands were tied with Watson because they paid him so much. But as far as winning games goes, like, I promise you, if Jameis was there from week 1, they would not be 2-6.
No,
maybe 3-5, maybe 4-4 or something.
100%.
But this team is not that god awful. And we took him last week against Cincinnati. They gave up the opening kickoff touchdown to the special teams unit and sort of never got out of their way. But we saw Jameis actually come and take some snaps towards the end after even DTR died. Wow, Jameis put it in the end zone, like only being on the field for 4 minutes. And this Ravens team, I said, look, Lamar's carrying these guys. They're actually playing garbage outside of him. And scheduling spot-wise, there's no reason for them to go kill Tampa and then go to Cleveland and try in a divisional game to try and cover -8, 9, 10 even, depending on when you bet this. And yeah, even after Jameis fumbles, gives them a short field, gives them a lead going into halftime, he pegs the ball at Kyle Hamilton. And look, it's probably a game-sealing interception if he picks him off. And the spread's still home at this point, but for him to actually catch it, drop it 4 times within actually the ball getting to the floor, and then Jameis, the very next play, hitting a 40-yard TD into the end zone, I was like, look, it's just one of those days for the Ravens. I don't downgrade them. I don't take anything bad from them out of this game. You're supposed to lose occasionally to your divisional opponents on the road on a short week with a bunch of injuries. So Ravens, I'll defend you cunts. It's not a big deal. Just get right, beat the shit out of Bo Nix next week and keep it back on track. Lamar, I thought, actually had another MVP performance. He hit Rashad Bateman literally for a 50-yard fucking gain in the middle of the field, and he just dropped it. He hit his chest.
Yeah.
He didn't even hit his hands. He's doing this, and he hit his chest. So I was like, wow, okay.
What's this guy doing?
And Kyle Hamilton did the same thing, right? So if they're going to stitch Lamar up that much, he
Correct.
wears none of the blame, in my opinion. And Browns, I think, going forward, they're probably a team I'd want to be on a little bit more. At least they have some
You can
sort
have
of
10
fucking,
MVPs if you want.
some sort of resolve and some hope.
He can have 10 MVPs if you want.
He might end up with 10.
It's fine. How many Super Bowls though?
0. What do you think, mate?
Yeah, on another day, Ravens would have just won by 7. When is Hamilton going to drop that in his life? He threw it straight at him. And overall, the Browns defense really isn't that bad. Shown if they actually get to 20 points, then they would cover the spread. And all they needed was 20 points today, and they would have covered the spread. So if you think of it that way, Cleveland get to 20. That's what you're actually betting on when you take the spread. And with Jameis, they will get to 20. Even without Amari Cooper, the fucking traitor. So
Yes. Who needs that pussy?
who needs him? Because they won anyway.
Yes. And team that won anyway, but didn't cover in weird circumstances. And I think the Jacksonville Jaguars have been involved in a lot of these weird, spread results as of late. But the Green Bay Packers keep on keeping on, winning and not covering for the 10th time in a row. Now bursting a record of 6-2. Jordan Love, groin injury. We're unsure of the severity at this stage. Probably we'll know more by the preview in terms of what the fuck's going to happen in this Lions game. That will be the game of the round next week. But as far as this week goes, I don't actually remember seeing this, probably more than 5 snaps of this game. I tuned in the last 2 minutes and couldn't give a dog piss outside of that. So what was your thoughts, Chris?
Tennessee's pretty bad. Oh, Jacksonville, sorry.
Jacksonville.
I'm really
I
bad.
wouldn't fault you for getting the two confused. They're both pathetic.
Yeah, they're both awful. I think there was a lot of look ahead for Green Bay as well. As soon as Love went down, they were kind of like, fuck, we need him next week. And we don't need him for fucking these cunts. And shout out him, he actually went back out there. But with Malik Willis, you think everyone's going to lay 3.5, and the fact that he still only didn't hit by half a point just shows how bad fucking Jacksonville are. And another loss for them. They should have many more losses. It was a bad spot. Like, I don't blame them because coming from London and not having a bye, where most teams actually coming back from London have had a bye.
Yeah. Let alone they were there for 2 weeks straight.
They were there for 2 weeks, so it makes no sense. And coming back home, so I didn't expect them to win, but I really didn't expect them to cover either. But they hung on strong. Again, if Love played, I think this would have been a lot more than 3. But regardless, they covered the spread, and Green Bay are somehow 6-2. Like, it seems incredible after the way they played week 1, and they're 6-1 from that point in Brazil, which is pretty insane.
That is insane.
So absolutely flying at the moment, and they continue this winning streak next week in the game of the round. Switch to fucking primetime NFL because it's going to be incredible.
Yes, you have to. I guess all eyes on the Lions game. Green Bay get out of this game with a win, which is all they probably really cared about. I think the only case going into this game for taking the Jags was Green Bay, like, it's not a focus spot for them at all, and it wasn't. And even in saying that, like, Jags, they had to have a lot go right for them to put it in the end zone to make it tight in the end, but what was the point of doing that and just, like, immediately giving up a 50-yard rush to concede field goal territory? Like, I just don't get what the fuck you guys were doing. But I guess that helps the punters that took the +3, and you were tortured throughout the whole game, but kind of was, like, never in doubt once they put it in the end zone.
Yeah.
So fair play to them. And we move on to the last game of the slate, which is the team that I've been despising. And I have been requested to do this segment in a Persian accent, but I'm not going to.
Why not?
That will torture you guys. But these motherfuckers in Indianapolis, like, fucking stop covering every single fucking game. It's always some garbage as well. Like, why are they 7-1 against the spread? Anthony Richardson is fucking terrible. I don't care what anyone says. This bro has not had a game where he completes over 50% of his passes.
Bro.
And they just continuously go out there and cover. It's insane. Week 1 to Texans, dog shit cover. Week 6 to Jacksonville, horse shit cover. What else have they done? Some other garbage.
The 3 points last week. They were -3.5, and they won by 6.
Yeah, and, you know, they were +4.5 once Jonathan Taylor got named, and I think the shift in the spread was pretty evident because this guy, like, is one of the most annoying rushing attacks in the sport because they block for him like crazy, and I can't remember someone, like, putting a hand on Taylor and him falling down as like as far as the first defender bringing him down goes. It's really fucking annoying. And you know, like, you're getting in front of that when you bet against Colts, right? But you also know that Richardson will fuck it up at some point. So the game's 10-all. There's 40 seconds left. Texans punt to Indy, and Shane Steichen's like, I'm gonna drop Anthony Richardson back on his 20-yard line and start sending it. And he sent it all right straight into the Texans player. And then they go down 17-10, and I was like, all right, finally, like, some dog shit variance has gone against this fucking Colts team for them to give up. And they were this close to giving up, but then CJ and Mixon have that, like, weird interchange where Mixon ends up dropping it, and then Redzone was getting retarded in Halloween witching hour where I was like, wow, did they really just go 80 yards and put it in the end zone off that mistake? But thank God one of the Texans players woke up and put a hand on the Colts player that...
Otherwise, they would have won.
Took the ball. Otherwise, they literally would have won. So, again, like, once it got to a stage where Texans didn't fucking kick the field goal and they gave Colts possession, the spread was pretty much dead because you would need, like, so much to go right for you to cover -4. And I was like, Anthony Richardson might throw it to us. Like, we still have 5% of a chance, but Anthony Richardson, he has a 20-yard rush and then fumbles a snap, loses 10 yards, and then just, like, loses the game from that point forward. So the right team won. I think the wrong team covered, but you could say that in probably 5 Colts games so far. So fair enough to them that they're keeping the games close in one-possession games. In other news, Stephon Diggs goes down, so now you're probably without Diggs and Collins going forward, and you're missing a bunch of pieces on the defensive end as well, which D'Amico Ryans is just, like, trying to get by and stack together wins, which he's doing, but I think the spreads are probably a bit much for Texans that would be overcoming as of late, where, like, a lot of bodies are dropping, but they keep piling up wins, so the numbers aren't really changing as far as
there's a reason why they keep not covering.
Yeah, and they really, like, keep not covering by short margins as well.
Correct.
So fair enough to the Colts. Probably was nothing sharp about laying 4, more of a vendetta. But these motherfuckers go and cover again. So what can I say?
Nothing much to say, mate. I still don't think this team is any good.
Yeah.
We'll get to... Well, it's not the day to talk about Texans not being good, but I truly believe they're not that great.
Yeah.
And now that they don't have a few injuries, they're just going to get away with it, right?
In your defense, Chris, I think like the way Colts played today, a great team, which is what Texans are perceived to be, would have covered 4.5.
Yeah.
They would have like won this by 10 or 14 or something because there was no reason for Colts. Like the Colts, the way they backdoor covered the Jags game, like it's pretty similar to this game. Like there was no reason for these cunts to be in it, like with 2 minutes to go. So yeah. All right, we're finally done with the fucking early slate, which was
now the late slate.
This late slate, which
we have a few quick ones. I reckon.
Thank you, Chargers, and I'd like. It was ugly. It was gross. Wasn't that fun to root for.
It wasn't even that fun to
Wasn't
watch.
that fun to watch. Not much happened. Went unders for the... Chargers have gone unders in every game this year because defensively, I think they have a top 5 unit. Their rushing attack has a top 5 reputation and a top fucking...
quarterback, Lamar Jackson.
Top tier quarterback that they can't put it in the end zone ever. But eventually, I did say, like, you will see a Saints give up at some point in this game, which they gave up. And once Groupie fucked the field goal and they conceded a touchdown later, it was all she wrote. So -7, I thought was very sharp. Ended up being quite sharp in the end. And in a game that, like... This probably was actually, like, could have been your candidate, Chris, of the week. Of just, like, take Chargers and just don't even watch the game.
Yeah, it could have been. It was a really bad game to watch.
Unfortunately...
We had plenty of other shit to watch.
Simultaneously... In the early, mid fucking slate was your Seattle Seahawks, Chris, going out there and quitting. So I might just leave this one in your capable hands, sir, of your upset alert. I'm revoking the right to repeat upset alert and lock of the week on Back Yourself going forward because it never works for us.
What the fuck was that? I mean, listen, Seahawks. There was seriously... Listen, this just goes back to Falcons being idiots. It clearly shows that you cunts are not fucking good at all. You actually should be 3-4. There was no reason to beat Falcons last week. Clearly shown by you guys going at home and just quitting. I mean, pew! He's not that fucking scary, Josh Allen. Come on, boys. I mean, nothing. Absolutely nothing. There was some unlucky plays from Geno. He was very upset with himself. Metcalf didn't play. Again, the spread doesn't move. Cunts don't know what they're doing, but I believe the Seahawks. But if you wanted to, if you thought I was a fucking idiot and took Buffalo, no one apparently out there was taking Buffalo because this stayed at 3 and Metcalf didn't play. So what the fuck are you guys doing?
He's worthless.
He's worthless, apparently, clearly. So look, it was clearly the wrong side. I didn't think Buffalo would go there and try, but my God, they tried. And their run game was way too much for Seattle. Seattle just quit on the year, as far as I'm concerned. I'm done with you cunts because. You went 3-0, 3-3. I called that you would get back to 4-3, and then you have a fucking opportunity to go 5-3, but you guys just want to stay fucking mid. That's all you want to do. Is stay right down the middle and stay 4-4.
I can already tell you what the Seahawks record is going to be at the end of the season. 8-9. What a waste of time. But you guys
what a waste of time. Fuck off.
Yeah, I feel for you, man. That upset of that, like. It's annoying when like you give out a thing and you put your pride on the line and it just never even has a chance.
No, you know what? I'd rather them give up than like lose by like 2.
Nah.
Like at least everyone can be like, "Fuck, I didn't see Seahawks lose by 70."
Yes.
And I agree. I don't think anyone saw Seahawks lose by that much.
Yeah.
A team that I thought would lose by that much. Fucking Carolina.
So what do you say about these guys?
I mean, the fact the spread. Yeah, the Sharps won this one. If the Sharps actually were alive.
No, the Sharps were on Panthers.
All right, listen.
The public won another one against Panthers.
Listen.
So I want to say the public in the last 2 seasons fading Carolina is like...
Literally every game but Raiders.
They've covered twice last year and once. So that's 3 covers in how many games? 8 this year and 17 last year. So they're 3-22 against the spread, getting plus 14 every week.
Fuck me dead.
Oh my God.
To be honest, Broncos, you weren't great.
Yeah, I know.
And they still covered.
Yeah, I know.
Because Carolina, with Bryce Young, are arguably the worst NFL team I've ever watched.
Ever, yeah.
I mean...
What did I say like 4 weeks ago? They would lose by 10 to that Browns team that went 0-31 and won. Fuck me.
I mean, their offense is non-existent. Yeah. Non-existent. And Yeah, all right, they scored 13 points, but trust me, they're 1 at 14. They're one of the most awful offensive teams with Bryce Young I've ever seen in my life. I cannot believe this guy's a number 1 pick.
I know, bro.
And, like, I don't know what you do with this franchise. Like,
Nuke it.
Go to XFL, as far as I'm concerned. I mean,
Nuke it.
Fuck
They're
me.
fucking terrible.
I've got nothing else to say.
Oh my god, they're so terrible.
Next week I might have more to say about them.
Yeah.
If in any situation, if Bryce Young plays, I don't even want to talk about Carolina anymore.
Well, next week, I don't think you'll be talking about them. I think you'll be talking in reference to their opposition, who possess Groupie and pod favorite looks like his ribs are healing and he might play, which is fantastic.
Who can't?
Yeah. But, yeah, I actually don't think Bryce Young deserves to ever play another game in the NFL. He's fucking...
Fuck this cunt.
Absolutely pitiful.
I don't know which teams are out there actually looking for him for a trade.
Yeah, no.
All right.
Okay.
On to the game that we can laugh.
Commanders?
No.
No,
we'll do Raiders last. Yeah, you're right.
I agree. They deserve it.
Commanders. Okay. I got a bit to say, obviously, because they've defeated my Bears, unfortunately. Even though Bears kept them to no touchdowns, even throughout. Sorry, they kept them to no touchdowns for 60 minutes of the game, and that's all I thought the game played. But like, there's one play remaining, and obviously they score that. But anyway, congratulations, Commanders. For our loyal listeners that actually watch our NRL podcast too, Commanders are literally Bulldogs 2.0.
Yeah.
They get everything go in their direction. Now, why can they defend?
Yeah, they're brand new defense.
I mean, Bears can defend. That was fine. Obviously, 5 field goals, right? No, four field goals and the touchdown. But obviously, they can defend. Fine. That's all good. And that's fair enough. But why is this now? Their defense is winning them the game.
Yeah.
Which is not what we saw the first 3 weeks when they kept fucking smoking everyone with their offense. Jaden Daniels, you're a brave man for finding out there, one, because you could clearly see the Bears' defense is very, very good. Washington could not get any, like, in the end zone, at least, until the end, which was fantastic from the Bears. Caleb, I was going to call you out, but your last drive showed why you're the number 1 pick.
Yes.
And Bryce Young, take fucking notes, cunt. Because you might be awful most of the game, but when it mattered most, Caleb got them down the field and got them the touchdown they needed. Obviously, didn't end up obviously the Hail Mary, whatever. But
you can't play corner.
You can't play corner. But he got them where they needed it and got the touchdown. Didn't end up winning. I'm not taking anything away from Bears. Commanders, you guys are now literally scaring me to take plays on you guys because you guys are like the fairy tale of this whole fucking season now. So, can't be bothered in any of your games because I know the season will fall and you guys are going to fuck it up. So it's just like if and when for you cunts. I can see you cunts winning the division. And if you guys actually are loyal listeners, you would remember back in fucking week 3, I said you guys are going to win the division. So don't come at me and say I'm a hater. I'm not. I think they're great. But when shit like this seems to happen, it happens for a little while and then eventually goes away.
Normally, all of a sudden like this, it stops happening. Which, again, loyal NRL pod followers, same shit happened to Bulldogs. They were great and they covered and they're great and they covered and great and covered until they lost to Manly and then everything just went to shit for them. So if that happens to Commanders, I won't hold it against them because they're still, rookie quarterback, head coach that hasn't head coached in a little while. And
this is the same scenario. Anyway.
Yeah, same shit. But look, Bears, my theory of why they lost this game is straight coaching. For you guys to come out of a bye and halfway through the third quarter, Caleb Williams has 31 yards passing. Like, what the fuck did you go and write on the whiteboard during the bye week? Clearly. Did you create and generate any new play? Did you generate any fucking scheme to, like, overcome this Commanders team, which, as Chris mentioned, week 1, these cunts given up 5 trillion yards to Baker, and fast forward 7 weeks later, with, like, even less players through injury. Now, their secondaries just, like, figured things out and they're not as bad anymore. So, shout out to Dan Quinn for figuring it out with really not much talent on the defensive side of the ball. And then, offensively, Jaden Daniels, look, his escapability is, like, ridiculous at this point, where the Bears defense, they did so great to not concede any touchdowns until the last play, but they were really giving up a lot of yardage to this Commanders team.
Yeah, they were.
Until they sort of figured them out in the second half, but the first half, like, it was this Bears punt. Oh, Commanders go get 70 yards, but, Bears get a stop. Bears punt, Commanders go get 70 yards, Bears get a stop. So they were settling for field goals constantly, but there was a scenario in my mind where this game easily could have been like 20-0, 24-0, and then Bears wouldn't have even had a chance to put it in the end zone to get the lead, right? But yeah, everything's like sort of going the Commanders' way. They're earning everything. They have it looks like morale's high in Washington for the first time in probably 20 years. They believe in Jaden Daniels. They're playing for one another. Kingsbury's calling a great offense, and they are 6-2 now, Chris. They've lost to Ravens and
5-2
and Tampa.
5-2,
something like that.
I think they're 5-2.
I can't think of them having a third loss, right? So
no.
They really are doing what Dallas was supposed to do in terms of high-powered offense, situationally good defense, and giving Philly a run for their money in the NFC East. On the other side of things, Bears, just
win next week.
Your coaching is just shit. Eberflus is shit. Your play calling is shit. Your offensive line is shit. And even while Caleb was playing bad, as soon as this guy snapped the ball, there was 3 Commanders players in the backfield consistently throughout the whole game. So the fact he was even able to put it in the end zone, get the 2-point conversion to fuck over everyone that had Washington +2, +1, whatever it was, until just I can't even call it a brain snap. This wasn't the Stephon Diggs Vikings touchdown to win the playoff thing where what the fuck's the corner doing? It's just, you throw it into a pile of 10 players and it ricochets off one dick, past 9 other players to conveniently the one Washington player that's in the back of the end zone by himself. Then that's just the sort of thing that's going the Washington's way at the moment. I think we'll learn a lot about the Bears in terms of how they'll respond next week, if they will feel this for a little while or they'll be like, look, we played awful, we put it in the end zone, we went up 3, we should have won, all good, we'll just keep the ball rolling. But it was a very painful loss for the Bears. I can't see a scenario where there's a more excruciating loss for a team for the rest of this season. So that kind of puts it in the context.
But if they win next week, you're only going to win one of these fixtures. All good. So trust me, Bears.
Yeah. So I can't you can't really say they fucked you over, Chris, because they just lost the bullshit in the end. But Raiders of fucking war, baby. They didn't win, but they didn't have to. They covered that motherfucking spread. Yeah, baby. Let's go.
That's all that needs to be said. All right, on to the next game. Because
we're actually talking about this.
I don't know what to say. How do they cover? How do they find a way to cover?
Okay, I have a little bit less hatred for the Chiefs today because at least they let Raiders cover, and I love Raiders, right? Yeah. So that's great. But God, I despise this kind of situation. They're so fucking annoying that I'm going to pose you a question, and then I'm just going to mic drop. Pretend I have a mic to throw at the table, right? Name me any other team in the sport where their quarterback can throw a pick on the 9-yard line and the other team ends up with 0 points from that drive.
Listen, that's why they're the best.
Fuck off.
That's why they're the best.
Let Raiders into the end zone.
They did. And later, for no reason. I don't think Chiefs came out of second gear. They didn't even try.
Yeah, I know.
And it was legit a lucky touchdown at the end that Raiders covered. Otherwise...
That was skill.
Not skill.
Raiders really have a water pistol offense. Fuck me.
You know what? I truly believe this is going to really blow minds. And this is what my brain goes through. So you can imagine how much I overthink things. I truly believe these cunts are we can't cover every single game.
Chiefs.
So fuck it. We'll just fuck it up.
No, I think they were just playing soft towards the end.
No. Honestly, there's no reason to not cover against Atlanta.
They did cover against Atlanta.
No, who did they not cover against?
Mate, this was the second game they haven't covered all year. They only didn't cover against the Bengals, which they should have lost. That's what infuriates me. These cunts cover as well every game. Fuck off. Right, the Ravens game where they definitely shouldn't have covered. The Saints game where Saints is something brand new. They should have lost the Falcons. And I guess they technically should have covered today and they didn't. So that's why I'm all right. They gave me some reprieve, and I can
it's their strategy.
Feel good about it.
Good job, Raiders.
Great job, Raiders. Minshew's fumble, I was look, it's how predictable are you guys? But the front came after Mahomes the whole day.
Had a bounty on him.
It's only through Mahomes' greatness that he can consistently get out of those pressure looks and rush for first downs all the time, it's fucking taking candy from a baby. But the thing with Raiders, and in a vacuum, Raiders are actually as pitiful as some of these other cunts. We're talking Patriots, Carolina,
Tennessee, Jacksonville,
Miami, Jacksonville.
Jets.
Raiders are in that realm for sure. But the one thing about Raiders that they don't quit.
Yeah.
And even in the games they get blown out, it's not through quitting. It's through just, all right, we have 2 turnovers. Let's go turn it over 3 more times. And then like they can't cover from there. But if they don't like fuck the turnover margin up like majorly,
they're fine.
They're with. If you're gonna give them 7, 8, 9 every week, they're going to be within that number most weeks, and that's through like just character and perseverance, and nothing else. Because talent wise, like there's water pistol offense, inbred quarterback, and 1 defensive pass rusher, and that's pretty much it. So shout out to the Raiders for covering. I will die for you guys. Will I back you guys for the 9th week in a row next week? That's the $1 million question. So make sure you tune into the preview. All right, time to give it up.
Sharp up blunt.
Sharp up blunt. Our best segment on this podcast.
Best segment. Now you like it.
Have we lost the sharp up blunt?
We don't lose sharp.
We have lost luck of the week many times. We have lost a couple of upset alerts. Have we lost sharp up blunt?
Nah. It's incredible that they lose by exactly 6, isn't it?
I really want to go back and watch the preview, and I feel like there was a quote of you saying these guys are going to lose by 6, aren't they?
No. So at the time it was 4.5, and I said they're either going to lose by 5 or lose by 15.
True.
Which, as soon as that line ticked
Went back
over
to
to 5.5, they lose by 6.
Yeah.
It's convenient, isn't it?
Yes.
Did they deserve to lose more by 6? Hell yeah. Fuck off. Stop coming back. You know what also infuriates me about their comebacks? They never come back and backdoor cover, do they? They always lose and not cover. So all the fans out there that took Dallas, I'm like, oh my God, we're only half a point away. And then they fuck it up anyway.
Yes. That's the infuriating thing. I guess besides the Steelers game where they won, but everything else came back down 28-3 to Ravens, lost anyway. Came back down 17 in 2 seconds against Niners, didn't cover by half a point anyway. Like it's just so typical of these losers. And
I actually don't. You know what my question is? Who the fuck was taking Niners -4? Cunts that listen to me. It must have been only cunts that listen to me. Yeah. There's no other reason to take
I think you're the reason it went to 5.5. Cunts like, fuck, it's sharp, but it's blunt. Fuck it, we'll take Niners. Niners suck. Genuinely, they're really bad.
They're bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Kittle got the ball a lot more today. Keep running that.
I think if Dallas were actually like
competent,
they would have won outright.
All right, Dallas, you guys' season's over.
Yeah, Dallas give up. Niners get right in your bye. That's all I can really say.
They're gonna. I mean, McCaffrey probably comes back after the bye.
I hope so. They really need him,
and they're gonna fucking become possessed.
Yeah.
I mean, to be 4-4 as garbage as you are, like. To Jets level garbage, Jets it's 2-6. So consider yourselves lucky, and you've probably had more injuries than they fucking have.
Definitely, yeah.
So
this healthy Niners team would be like 6-2.
And you've beaten like decent teams.
Yeah, Dallas off a bye, like it's not easy to beat them, right?
But it's easy because
if Parsons played, maybe it would be different outcome.
Nah, they would have lost one more.
Dallas, you're actually at a stage where you probably don't even end up in the wild card scenario
because everyone else keeps winning.
And in a season review, which I don't know if we do one for NFL or not. Maybe we should. It'd be hilarious. It'd be 5-hour job.
We didn't do one for NRL though.
Yeah, I was injured. But
we'll save it for the preview.
I will say, like, sliding doors moment, you can't give Dak $60 million a year. Come on, boys. Bro, you may as well just, like, sign your franchise away and be like, all right, we're going to be garbage now. What the fuck
this team is... Look, what can go wrong will go wrong. Yeah. Stephen A said it.
Particularly, like,
they're really fucking up.
It's embodied in that building as well, where like they'll never cover there. So
what is it, bro? It's the jersey. They have to.
They back down to the badge, mate. Like you said. Yeah. So, obviously, we're doing this one day before Monday Night Football.
No one cares.
Giants, Steelers. Who cares? So we'll see you guys in the preview of Week 9.
I'll give them a score. I'll tell them what the score will be.
Giants.
You're saying Giants are going to win, aren't they?
Giants.
I'm gonna go 27-20. Steelers. Yeah.
I'm going to say...
Who they have Ross?
20-17 Steelers.
Oh, okay. So they're going to cover.
And it's going to be overs by half a point.
All right. We'll see you guys in the preview.
Enjoy.
Sharp up.
Want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Did you guys get up this week? What was your takeaway of the weekend? And if you're enjoying the pod, let us know. We will see you guys come to the preview. Peace out. Let's go.
Peace.